Man, what a way to start the new year off, man. Wow. Just as you think you're going to go out, have a good time, just bring in the new year with with a positive outlook on life. And then something like this happen where you either lose a loved one, you witness a real tragic accident with other people, or you yourself may even lose your life. And that's the scary part about being around big crowds on New Year's. Something like this is likely to happen. Gonna jump right into it, man. Of course, you all know there was a real bad accident. I'm sorry, it was a real bad, purposely done travesty that happened in New Orleans, where a guy plowed his they said it was an F-150 into a crowd of people, killing 10 people. So, man, let's listen to the breaking news on it.
Hi, I'm Diana Macedo. Your ABC News Live special coverage of that breaking news in New Orleans. Local police are calling it an act of terror after a man drove a pickup truck through a crowd on Bourbon Street, killing 10 people and injuring dozens. They say the driver then came out of the truck and opened fire on officers, injuring 2 before being shot and killed. Now the FBI is investigating. They say improvised devices were discovered in and around the scene of the attack. Those devices are now being tested, and the White House says President Biden has been briefed and has been in touch with the mayor of New Orleans. Jimmy Cothran, who witnessed the attack, joins me now to share more about it. Jimmy, first off, I'm so sorry that this is how you're starting off the year. I can't imagine how frightening this must have been. So can you take us through what you saw?
We were heading, being a friend of mine, he had never been there for New Year's, so why not today? We were heading towards Canal, coming from the other end of Bourbon, when it just looked like ahead of us was something going on. We wasn't sure what, so we ducked off into the nightclub that was right there. Within 2 minutes of entering the building, 4 frantic girls pushed through security, ran in, and hid under tables. So we instantly, living here, and unfortunately with these circumstances, kind of figured it had to be a shooting or something not good. So we ran upstairs, and when we got on the balcony, what we saw was insanity. I mean, something out of a movie. The graphic nature of it, and it was unbelievable. We instantly counted, I'd say, 10 bodies, 6 clearly graphically deceased, and the others yelling with no one around. Everyone had just cleared the street completely. We couldn't understand why no one was helping. I am trained and certified, and they would not let us out. We just stood by and watched for several moments until it looked like what was SWAT or some type of military unit on foot was running down Bourbon with M16s towards where the suspect was going. There 100% were not any steel barricades put up. We had been up and down Bourbon since 8 p.m. and none of the steel barricades were up. That's how this criminal, was able to go 70 miles an hour down Bourbon Street and cause this much damage.
So, those of you know, the downtown on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, they have steel barricades that's like real close to each other, where you can't even really damn near fit a person through. And they do it every year. They had these steel barricades so that it prevents stuff like this from happening. But just so happened tonight on the new year of 2025, they didn't have the barricades up. I ain't saying that this is an inside job, but we all know how America get down, and I'm gonna say it like it's. When you hear stuff like this, we don't know what to believe. We literally don't know what to believe, and for this to happen, the first day, January 1st, 2025. We starting the year off like this. Yeah, it's yeah, yeah, yeah.
I want to bring in, Jimmy, stay with me because I do want to ask you a few more questions, but I also want to bring in our ABC News contributor and former FBI agent, Brad Garrett. Brad, local law enforcement is calling this terrorism. The FBI so far hasn't said that. Why is that?
Because they want to make sure that that's what it is. Is this just another disgruntled person who was just angry and decided to kill a bunch of people? Or was he driven by some extremist ideology or philosophy? Now, the idea that he's got explosive devices, he comes out of the truck with a weapon and gets into a shootout with the police, certainly suggests something here beyond he's just disgruntled. There could be a mental health component. My sense is going to be this has been driven by some ideology of some sort. It could be ISIS. It could be a domestic terrorism. It's in the playbook of a lot of extremist groups to do car rammings, and unfortunately, I think that's why we're having more of them.
And our senior investigative reporter, Aaron Katersky, is here with me on set now. Because, Aaron, I think Jimmy brings up a point that so many people are wondering right now. How does a pickup truck even get access to Bourbon Street on New Year's Eve when you know there are going to be crowds and crowds of people? How is there not layers deep of security to prevent that from even happening?
The police superintendent said there were barriers intended to prevent a vehicle ramming attack, and the suspect was somehow able to get around them and then accelerate quickly. If you look at the make of the vehicle, it appears like perhaps it's an electric vehicle that can accelerate very, very quickly. So even if it was slow getting around some kind of barrier, maybe up onto one of those narrow sidewalks in the French Quarter, maybe it accelerates quickly and gains enough speed to plow through all of those people, killing 10 and injuring the 3 dozen. But that's going to be one of the key questions, because how often in the several days since the German Christmas market attack have police talked about the need to stop that kind of an attack, block intersections sufficiently.
And Jimmy, how do you feel now hearing law enforcement say this was intentional, or did you think that immediately when you saw this attack?
Oh, absolutely intentional. Like, there's no way you don't know you hit one person, much less 50. Because, I mean, we have 10 dead, over 3 dozen in the hospital.
Exactly. Like, nah, he just accidentally fell asleep at the wheel and his foot slipped and hit the gas, and he just so happened to run over 50 people and kill 10 of them. Come on, man. Like, what kind of insensitive ass question? Anyway, what catches my attention is that it's always something that can be prevented. Right? There can be preventative measures taken, but they don't get taken. And when they don't get taken, something happens. It's crazy. Like the last time this happened in New Orleans was Katrina. It had already been said that the dams had needed to be rebuilt. They needed to be restructured. And so that didn't happen. And we all seen the effects of Katrina killing all those people. And now this happened. Right? So I'm just saying. I ain't saying it's an inside job. I'm just saying.
I mean, I was at one perspective and I could count over 10 bodies. And I was at the beginning of it. And what this gentleman saying about going on a narrow sidewalk, for one, it was a gas-powered Ford F-150. 2, we have poles that hold up every single balcony on New Orleans. And if our metal barricades are up, they are pole to pole. There's no, you could barely get a bicycle and a walk path through there.
So, Jimmy, I just want to make sure for people who aren't from there may not understand all of this. So you're saying there are mechanisms in place to prevent this kind of thing from happening, and you are saying those mechanisms were not in place. Am I hearing you right?
Absolutely. They were there. They were not up. They used flimsy plastic triangle-style barricades. Like, had those been up, which they commonly are for any other event, especially after the Mardi Gras incident last year. I mean, I greatly feel it could have been prevented. and I will never forget what I saw tonight.
Man, prayers out to the families, all the people that lost their lives, the ones that's fighting for their lives. You know, it's bad, man. It's crazy. And me being in Memphis, that's always like one of the things I'm always afraid of. That's why I don't go around big crowds, with big celebrations like New Year's and 4th of July, stuff like that. I kind of stay away from that because we seen a lot of, we see this on a regular basis where just people get out of control. But this is a little bit different though. You go into the new year again expecting to have a good time, and then somebody plows into the crowd. That's different. And you could call it terrorism, but it's like, I don't know, man. It's you got to be, completely deranged, or you got to hate America, because a lot of people do this out of their hatred for how America is ran. Just like when they killed the CEO of United Healthcare, you know what I'm saying? People try to take, law into their own hands and say, we got a broken system, bump it. I'm gonna fix it by doing something crazy, shoot up a school, or, plow a car through a crowd of people and killing, it don't solve anything. But, the people that got this on their heart feel like they did God's work, which is crazy. But I guess more news gonna come out. We're gonna find out what's really going on with this, because it's always some deep rooted facts that make everything make sense. So hopefully we'll find out what that is. Like I said, I ain't saying it's an inside job. I'm just saying we've seen this plenty of times before. It's always some kind of conspiracy. And I ain't saying I'm a conspiracy theorist, to be honest with you. I'm a skeptic. You know what I'm saying? I don't never take things face value. I'm like, man, it got to be something up with this. But I don't want to speak too soon. We'll just see what happens. Follow me on Facebook, Eric E. Smith, Universal Thought Podcast, man. And I will see y'all on the next reaction video. You did.